Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, Ballon d'Or, as Rio Ferdinand once famously said. When we get to the latter stages of the Champions League, it's about the individual performances, the individuals that drag their team to potential silverware. And it brings the conversation of Ballon d'Or. There's been some incredible individual performances this season, not just in the Champions League, but in the respective domestic leagues. And I think we've got down to a short list of about 5 or 6 players. I'll quickly rattle through them. We've got on our list here Raphinha at Barcelona, Ousmane Dembele, PSG, Lamine Yamal, Barcelona, Pedri, Barcelona, Mo Salah, obviously, the work he's done at Liverpool, and Robert Lewandowski, Barcelona. Harry, I'll come to you first. Who's your Ballon d'Or frontrunner?
Right now, it's probably Raphinha. There's a lot of players on this list that I think you can make an argument for, but I just think for me, it's about consistency, and it's obviously about what you achieve on the continental stage as well. And I think when you're talking about Ballon d'Or, we always weigh up what they've done in that stage. And I think sometimes domestic achievements get put by the wayside a little bit. I think that's probably why Mo Salah's not in the conversation. I can imagine there'll be Liverpool fans screaming his name. Maybe he is in the conversation, but for me, he's not one of the front runners. Raphinha's gone to Barcelona, and I think he's carried them on his back at times when the club has been going through a really difficult period. They've had financial issues. They've had inability to register players. They've had to go and do business that, you would say is good business by the standards of most other clubs. But in Barcelona's case, it probably feels like they're shopping in a kind of second-rate bracket a little bit at times just to get by. And then there's this guy that's come to Barcelona from Leeds United and has just ripped it up and been incredible. And in a lot of ways, he facilitates so much of their brilliance. Aside from scoring 35 goals and providing 23 assists in the 24-25 season so far, he works incredibly hard, I think, all round. He's just a fantastic player. There are other names on this list that we'll discuss, and I'll maybe share some reasons why I don't think they should be there. But for me, that's the name that jumped out of the page for me when we looked at this earlier.
Tony?
I want to say Lamine Yamal. I think Lamine Yamal is one of the best players in the world right now. I think if he wasn't 17 years old, he would probably be the world's best player. But I think because he's 17, we're just like, you can barely have a driver's license yet. You shouldn't be the best player in the world. But yeah, I agree with Harry. Raphinha has been such a good player. I feel like I think he has the best narrative. I think if Barcelona win the Champions League, him as the front runner will have the best narrative. I think we all thought Nico Williams was going to come to Barcelona at the start of the summer, and Raphinha was probably going to be the one that got sold. We all thought it was going to be Spain's winning a front line across Barcelona with Lamine Yamal and Nico Williams, but that wasn't the case. Raphinha's playing on the left, which he doesn't normally do. He normally plays off the right, and he's having an outrageous season. And I think it looks like in that Inter Milan game the other day, everything he touches just turns to gold, even though that goal will go down as a Jan Sommer own goal. I just think Raphinha's just having a great season. And I think Lamine Yamal can do this next season. If Raphinha continues this, we'll be surprised. Then we'll have to start having some scarier conversations. But I feel like if Barcelona do win win the Champions League, and maybe if they win La Liga as well, I just think, you know what, for Raphinha's season, just give it to him.
I might be going early. It might be a bit premature, but crown him. Lamine Yamal is the best footballer in the world. Lamine Yamal is... The maturity is abnormal. The skill set is otherworldly. It's like a gravitational pull whenever he's on the football pitch. You are looking for the kid now with the blonde hair. You're seeing whenever he gets the ball, what is he going to do? How's the opposition going to stop him? We talked about how Inzaghi came out and talked so candidly about how they're trying to stop Lamine Yamal. You have to game plan for him. And I agree with you, Tony. 17 years old. The age maybe holds him back a little bit because we're maybe projecting and we want to see where he gets to, because in my opinion, there's only one player that's playing football right now that has a chance to break into the all-time 5 footballers of all time, and that's Lamine Yamal. My all-time top 5, again, you can argue with yourselves in the comments, it's Lionel Messi, it's Maradona, it's Pele, it's Cristiano Ronaldo, and it's Zinedine Zidane. Lamine Yamal, by the end of his career, will be in those conversations, and I think it starts right now. This is a flawed Barcelona team. This is a Barcelona team that had frailties. Their cheat code, the reason why they get out of so many situations is, of course, Raphinha, who is maybe carrying the goal-scoring burden, but when you talk about the essence of the team, when you talk about what Barcelona is, that is Lamine Yamal, the heir apparent to Lionel Messi. And I know that he hasn't scored as many goals as Raphinha, but in the high-leverage moments in these big competitions, he's either popping up with an assist or scoring a goal himself. I think he is absolutely incredible. And I know that Raphinha will have better numbers by the end of the season. But when I think of Barcelona, I think of Lamine Yamal. And I know he's only 17 years old, but this kid can do absolutely everything. For me, he should win the Ballon d'Or this year.
The thing for me is that, look, I think with Lamine Yamal, as great as he is, and I agree with you that he does have the talent to go on and really be knocking on the door of the greatest of all time if he continues on this trajectory. But I think his style of play is a big part of why people gravitate towards him. Because you look at the numbers, he's not more effective than Raphinha. And we're in this space where, look, we've watched, we're recording this the day after we've watched Lamine Yamal tear Inter apart, right? And so there's that excitement, there's that buzz, that warm, fuzzy feeling inside that we've all got today where we're all like, this guy's stock has just shot through the roof. But I think sometimes you got to respect hierarchy a little bit. And Raphinha is the senior one at Barcelona that has delivered all season. I'm not saying Lamine Yamal hasn't. And we were at the Euros, we were all at the Euros, and he was fantastic at the Euros as well. So he's been doing it, and he's been, you know, he's come into the new season and he's maintained that. But for me, there's something to be said for hierarchy. And I think if you're going to give it to one of those Barcelona players, if you overlook Raphinha to give it to Lamine Yamal at this stage in his career, I personally think that's wrong. Now, yes, potentially, he's got a much higher ceiling than Raphinha, but there's something in terms of my kind of respect for hierarchy and the order of things that stops me just overlooking Raphinha to hand it to Lamine Yamal. But then there's other players in the mix as well. Ousmane Dembele is another one. The thing with Ousmane Dembele is that we've seen that talent for such a long time, but there's been times where it's not really come through. So in your opinion, Tony, has he done enough in this season? 34 goals, 11 assists to go, now's his time.
The 34 goals and 11 assists looks good for your GA people, but I think Ballon d'Or is a narrative-based award. So I feel like he has a good story this year. I think this is the year that Ousmane Dembele is coming to himself. I feel like this is the first year where he's playing a different position, and we're like, yeah, Ousmane Dembele is one of the best players on this PSG team. So if PSG, they've won the Ligue A, if they go on to win the Champions League, that's a really big chance for Ousmane Dembele to win it, because I feel like if PSG win their first Champions League ever, Ousmane Dembele is the front man. Why not give it to him? He probably hasn't had the performances for France. I remember he got taken off at half time, isn't it? In the World Cup final. So he's not really had his best performances for France, but the narrative of him coming into his own this year on a Champions League winning PSG side and PSG's first ever Champions League, that screams like Ballon d'Or to me.
Yeah, no, I don't hate it. Let's look at the other runners and riders, right? So Dembele, I agree with you. The narrative's there. Look at Pedri. Again, I'm not going to dismiss him because he's had a very, very good season, but this award normally goes to attackers. I know Roger got it last year, but traditionally this goes to the people who put the ball in the back of the net. So I'm going to cross Pedri's name off. Mo Salah, Robert Lewandowski. Two players that are in their 30s. Two players that maybe they've had very, very good seasons. I think Lewandowski should have won it in 2020. Obviously, there's no award that season because it was COVID. But he's injured currently, so we're not going to see him in the Champions League semi-final potentially. And Mo Salah, his Liverpool team exited early of the Champions League, and I think that really harms his case. In terms of those two players, Mo Salah and Robert Lewandowski, have they got an outside chance to win the award?
Not for me. I think you hit the nail on the head when you said that Mo Salah and Liverpool's early exit from Europe is probably going to damage him in that particular race, because, as I said right at the start of this video, I feel like continental achievements make up a big part of how this award is determined. Mo Salah's been out of this world, and if you believe that the Premier League is the best league in the world, he's got 36 goals. Or I don't know if that's in the Premier League, but he's got 36 goals and 24 assists across all competitions. So to do that in the biggest league and contribute in the Champions League is incredible. But it goes back to a little bit about what I was saying when we talked Lamine Yamal. It's the feeling. I don't get that from Mo Salah. I'm sorry, I just don't. And it's not that he's not super effective. I compare him to Cristiano Ronaldo in the sense of really effective players, but the style doesn't grab me. I felt like that about Ronaldo, but that never diminished how highly I rated him in terms of his ability to impact games. But I feel like that about Mo Salah as well. They're not my type of players. And so I don't naturally gravitate towards them in these conversations. But the outputs demand that he's at least in the conversation. I don't think he's got a chance of winning it this time around, though.
And when we talk about football reparations, like I say, I think it was almost criminal that Lewandowski didn't get the Ballon d'Or award in 2020, helping Bayern Munich to win the Champions League, scored an incredible amount of goals this season. Has clearly diminished as a player, but the numbers are still there. 42 goals across all competitions, 5 assists. Obviously, they won the Copa del Rey. He didn't play in that game, but still silverware on his mantelpiece. Do you think Lewandowski, as a result of maybe not winning it in 2020, has an outside chance to win the Ballon d'Or this year?
If you want to put the 2020 argument in there, yeah. However, I unfortunately, because the other two front runners are his two teammates, the people that have been passing the ball to him, I know he's outscored them. And yes, if Lamine Yamal and Raphinha weren't having the seasons they had and Barcelona go on to win the Champions League, this would be a nice one to be like, you know what, Lewandowski, you've been cooking this season. Here, has the Ballon d'Or. Here, sorry for 2020. Because he does deserve that. He did deserve that Ballon d'Or in 2020 and we didn't give it to him. So, but unfortunately, Lamine Yamal and unfortunately Raphinha, and they both play on the exact same team as you. Yeah. You're going to have to do a lot, Robert, unless you score like a double hat-trick in the Champions League final. You're going to have to do a lot for that Ballon d'Or. But take nothing away from it. I think at his age, I think over 40 goals is absolutely insane. I feel like there's not many people that do 40 goals in the prime of their career, let alone at the end of their career. So it would be nice for him to get his reparations in a sense, but it's just not going to happen when Lamine Yamal and Raphinha are both there.
Those are our thoughts on the Ballon d'Or contenders. Let us know what you think down in the comments below. It's Ballon d'Or season. There's so many contenders. Who will win the award?